Hello students, in this video I would like to discuss about the role of lexical analyzer. The main task of the lexical analyzer is to read the input characters of the source program, group them into lexemes and produce as output a sequence of tokens for each lexeme in the source program. So you already studied about lexical analyzer where the program will be scanned character by character and it will be grouped into lexemes, and as output of the lexical analyzer it will produce a sequence of tokens. A stream of tokens is sent to the parser for syntax analysis. So parser is otherwise known as syntax analyzer. So the output of lexical analyzer, that is tokens, will be sent to parser. It is common for the lexical analyzer to interact with the symbol table as well. We already discussed about symbol table. When the lexical analyzer discovers a lexeme consisting an identifier, it needs to enter that lexeme into the symbol table. We already studied about the content of symbol table where there we inserted the token corresponding to the lexeme in the symbol table. So this is a diagram which shows the interaction between lexical analyzer and the parser. Source program will be given to lexical analyzer. It will generate some tokens, and these tokens will be stored in the symbol table if the generated tokens represent any identifier, and parser will read the tokens continuously and the parser will send its output for semantic analysis. Functions other than identification of lexemes. There are other functions to lexical analyzer also. Stripping out comments and white spaces, blank, new line, tab, and perhaps other characters that are used to separate tokens in the input. The white spaces, that means unwanted spaces like blank, new line, tab, etc. will be removed during lexical analysis, and comments are also removed. Comments means it is written only for the understanding purpose of the programmer. Correlating error messages generated by the compiler with the source program. If there is any error during lexical analysis, that error will be correlated during this phase. The lexical analyzer may keep track of the number of new line characters seen, so it can associate a line number with each error message. So if you notice any error message, whether it is in C or Java, a line number is also associated. So line number is based on the new line character. New line means next line. So this lexical analyzer also keep tracks of this line number. In some compilers, the lexical analyzer make a copy of the source program with the error messages inserted at the appropriate position. If the source program uses a macro preprocessor, the expansion of macros may also be performed by the lexical analyzer. In system programming, you already see what is macro preprocessor. So the expansion of macro is also done in lexical analysis. Sometimes lexical analyzers are divided into a cascade of two processes. Scanning consists of simple processes that do not require tokenization of the input, such as deletion of comments and compaction of consecutive whitespace characters into one. All the functions we have discussed in this slide will come under scanning. The functions other than identification of lexeme can be considered as scanning. Lexical analysis is the more complex portion which produces tokens from the output of the scanner. So next we are going to study three terms: tokens, patterns, and lexemes. So we already studied about token. A token is a pair consisting of a token name and an optional attribute value. So we already discussed a token is a pair of token name and optional attribute value. Optional attribute value means if a token for operator, there will be no attribute value. So for example, you already studied about id, 2, id, 1. That is an example for token. The token name is an abstract symbol representing a kind of lexical unit. Example, a particular keyword or a sequence of input characters denoting an identifier. The token names are the input symbols that the parser processes. The token names are given to syntax analyzer or parser. So next one is pattern. It is an important concept. A pattern is a description of the form that the lexemes of a token may take. In case of a keyword as a token, the pattern is just a sequence of characters that form the keyword. For identifiers and some other tokens, the pattern is a more complex structure that is matched by many strings. So I will try to explain pattern in detail. You just imagine pattern as a rule. So we already know lexeme. So lexeme is a sequence of characters in the source program that matches the pattern. Or lexeme is a sequence of characters in the source program that matches the rule. So in C program we have 32 keywords. If, else, then, for, enum, return, these are all keywords. So if a particular group of sequence matches these keywords, we can say the lexeme is a keyword. Similarly, for identifier, we all know the rule to make an identifier. It must start with an alphabet or an underscore. After alphabets, we can include numbers also. So a group of strings or group of characters can be generated based on this rule. So this rule is called pattern. So if a lexeme follows some pattern, we can consider it as a token. So a lexeme is a sequence of characters in the source program that matches the pattern for a token and is identified by the lexical analyzer as an instance of the token. So you just consider the rule. Identifiers are something which are not keywords. It always starts with alphabet or underscore. Numbers may be followed after the alphabets. So this is a set of rules. If a group of characters in a program follows this rule, we can say it is a valid lexeme, and for that each valid lexeme we are generating some tokens. So examples for some token. So if is a token. So because it contains characters I and F. So it is an informal description of the rule. Else, character E followed by L, L followed by S, S followed by E. So if that rule is satisfied, it is one of the valid keyword. So comparison operator, less than or greater, less than equal to or greater than or equal to or not equal to. So for comparison operator, it has to satisfy any one of these strings. That is a rule. ID, letter followed by letters and digits. We already discussed about that rule. Number, any character constant. It is also a rule. Literal, anything surrounded by double quotes. Look at this example. It is an example taken from Fortran statement. E equal to M star C star star 2. Star star in Fortran represent exponent operator or power operator. So here E is an identifier. So a token will be generated. ID, comma, pointer to the symbol table entry for E. So it may be ID, comma 1. Then an assignment operator. Then another identifier. And a pointer to symbol table which represent M. Then multiplication operator. Then again an identifier which also has a pointer to symbol table entry for C. Then it is an exponent operator. Exponent operator means star star. Followed by a number. And number contains integer value 2. So if this statement is given to lexical analyzer, the tokens will be generated like these things. So input buffering. When recognizing tokens, but there are many situations where we need to look at least one additional character ahead. For instance, we cannot be sure we have seen the end of an identifier until we see a character that is not a letter or digit, and therefore it is part of the lexeme for ID. Here we are scanning the program character by character. When we can say we identified a keyword, or we identified an identifier, or we identified some operator. So sometime we have to look at least one character ahead. So in the second point, it is clear that we cannot be sure we have seen the end of the identifier until we see a character that is not a digit or a letter. So if suppose I am declaring a variable int abc semicolon. So at some point of time the program start to scan a, b, c and also semicolon. So actually semicolon is not part of the identifier. That means we are actually looking one more character ahead. So when we see the semicolon, we will identify ABC as an identifier. In C, single character operator like minus, equal to or great less than could also be the beginning of a two character operator like pointer, equal to, less than or equal to. When I see a minus character, we can't say it is a subtraction operator. So we have to look one more character ahead where it is a pointer. So when you see equal to, we have to look one more character ahead, whether it is equal to. So when you see less than, we have to look one more character, less than or equal to. Because of the amount of time taken to process characters and the large number of characters that must be processed during the compilation of a large source program, specialized buffering techniques have been developed to reduce the amount of overhead required to process a single input character. So we all know a program will contain large number of characters. So large number of characters can be considered as a string or a large text value. We have to process these text. This text means the source program as a text by character. So we need a large amount of time, and so to speed up the processing, we are making some buffering techniques. An important scheme involves two buffers that are alternatively reloaded as suggested in figure. So here we have two buffers. Thick line shows the partition between left buffer and right buffer. So if fewer than n characters remain in the input, that is, a special character represented by EOF mark the end of the source file and is different from any possible character of the source program. So n means size of the buffer. Here the left hand side buffer is also size n and right side of the buffer also has size n. So you just imagine two buffers are filled like this and we reach the end of the source program. So still some spaces are there. To mark that end of the source program, we are using a special marker called EOF. Two pointers to the input are maintained. Pointer lexeme begin marks the beginning of current lexeme, whose extent we are attempting to determine. Pointer forward scans ahead until a pattern match is found. So we have two pointers, lexeme begin. So lexeme begin marks the beginning of current lexeme, and here the star can be considered as a beginning of lexeme star. We already studied star can be considered as a token, or it's a meaningful thing, exponent operator. We are trying to find extent of this lexeme. Lexeme only extends up to 2 characters. So we are actually trying to find how long this lexeme is, which are the character which can be the part of this lexeme. Pointer forward scans ahead until a pattern match is found. So this star is found, then it will try to scan one more character. So again a star is found. So I already told you have to scan one more character ahead. Here we are scanning one more character ahead. We are finding 2. So we found star as a valid lexeme. Once the next lexeme is determined, forward is set to the character at its right end. Then after the lexeme is recorded as an attribute value of a token returned to the parser, lexeme begin is set to character immediately after lexeme just found. So once this forward reaches 2, we understood this star as a lexeme. So this is the rightmost end character of a particular lexeme star. So once it is recognized, this forward will come back and points to the star. That's the meaning of this point. Once the next lexeme is determined, forward is set to the character at its right end. So just imagine, once it is recognized, star, this forward will points to the star. Then after the lexeme is recorded as an attribute value of a token returned to the parser, so the token is identified and it is given to parser. Lexeme begin is set to character immediately after the lexeme just found. So I already told you, now the forward pointer points to the star. What is the character after that one? That is 2. So lexeme begin will points to 2. That's the meaning of this statement. In figure 3.3 we see forward has passed the end of the lexeme star. That is the Fortran exponential operator and must be retracted on position to its left. That is also explained earlier. Advancing forward requires that we first test whether we have reached the end of one of the buffers, and if so, we must reload the other buffer from the input and move forward to the beginning of the newly loaded buffer. So you just imagine this forward is pointing to this star. So it is recognized as a token, it's just a multiplication operator, and also it reaches the end of the buffer, end of the first buffer or left side buffer. At that time what happens? We must reload the other buffer from the input. So other buffer is reloaded, that is right hand side buffer is reloaded, and move forward to the beginning of the newly loaded buffer. So forward will move to newly loaded buffer. So after that, forward will pointing to C. So just imagine forward reaches here, and also it is not end of the file. The other buffer will be loaded. This buffer will be loaded, and the forward will points to first cell in this left hand side buffer. So this buffering system is to speed up the scanning process. That's all I want to share in this video. Thank you.